Hello, everyone. Welcome to Alphawisdom. I'm Mystic Cassandria. We're continuing with our talk on the thumb, the chief. All right. Now, as it says on your check sheet, we're covering today the three phalanges of the thumb: the will, the logic, and Venus mount. Time permitting, we will go right into the flat thumb tip, the supple thumb, a clubbed thumb, and a wasted thumb. Okay, but we're focusing here on this illustration. All right? Now, like the index, middle, ring, and little fingers, the thumb is divided into three parts. Sometimes those parts are called sections, but in palmistry, we refer to them as phalanges. Here's the spelling of the word. Okay? Now, the nail tip, where the nail is, phalange, is called the phalange of will, or simply the will section of the phalange. And the second phalange is called the phalange of logic. The third phalange is the mount of Venus here, another word for your thumb ball. Okay? Now, when we talk about will, we're talking about action. Logic, we mean ideas, your thoughts. You put your thoughts in front, and the will that represents action gets started with them, gets them going, puts action with it. Now, a strong will, one that is well-rounded, long and wide, indicates decisiveness, staying power, and the ability to transform thoughts into deeds. When the phalange is conic in shape, now we're talking about the nail types, it indicates a person whose energy tends to scatter when he or she is confronted with a major project or serious problem. If this phalange is thin or flat, we're still talking about the will, thin or flat, when viewed from the side, its owner tends to be high-strung and nervous. Now, while we're going over this, I hope you're looking at your thumbs to see if any of this applies to you. All right? When the thumb is squarish, that is, your nail has a square shape, there is an ability to organize and execute projects. A spatulate tip, that's another type, is the sign of a dynamic individual with a zest for living. It's like things happen around them. They keep their action going in all parts. All right, now let's get more on the logic section. The logic part reveals our degree of reasoning power. Ideally, it should be the same length and strength as the will phalange, which would indicate a balance between thought and action. The longer and thicker the phalange, the more ego will exert strong control over action. In extreme cases, people with long logic phalanges will think something through so persistently that they are no longer capable of action. Okay, now, in reality, it may not all be the same. It's not rare to have, let's say, your logic longer, when we think about length, than the will. Or vice versa. The will is longer than the logic section. So what does one do? This means if this is shorter than the will, you don't have that many ideas. Your thinking may be scattered or nothing is coming up, your thoughts. And here is your will section ready to go. They want action. So what do? Well, or it could be vice versa. You have not much will here. This is very small in comparison to this larger. You've got all these ideas and no feeling of action, can't get started, can't go going. What do? Well, you try to work with someone who has what you don't have. If you have the ideas by the shape here, work with someone that has a larger size will than their logic. They may not have ideas, but you do, or you don't, whichever. But whatever's missing from that balance, work with someone else and it comes out beautifully. You get the balance that way. People do this all the time. They may not be familiar with palmistry, but they know they can work with someone that gets things done. You may have that experience yourself. So don't fret over it. Just be sure that you can evaluate this. Okay? So we do have that. Now with the Venus mounts, since this represents love and passion, if it's fuller, or if you press in, if it's solid rather than flat or somewhat flabby, then more energy is there when it's firmer. This area, firmer, may have a feeling of being hard, or may have a feeling of between hard and coarse. But we're talking about that. And that also means you have energy to do whatever it is you need to do. That's why with the hand, there's so many parts and they tend to help each other. All you have to do is know what to do. And sometimes this works automatically, so you don't have to work with it at all. Okay? So I hope this helps with your understanding of your will, your logic, and your Venus mount. So everything does depend on the side. Don't measure the Venus with the logic and the will. No. We look for balance between will and logic, period. All right? It's there to let you know that this is considered a flange. Okay? All right. Obviously, we're not going to be able to continue because we're going to run way over. So I'm going to do another video. You don't have to wait for it. It'll follow right after this one. I'll label them part 1, part 2, something like that. Okay? And we're going to go right into the variety of thumb tips or thumbs that you may run into. Well, thanks for watching. See you on the next round. Love yourself. Remember, love and light. Bye.